Candyse with Grow Local, and today we are with Stephanie in her home garden. And Stephanie is with the Alberni Valley Food Security Group, or AV Food Security Group. Steph, you've got an absolutely gorgeous garden here. You said it was a little tricky in the beginning because you're on a hill.
Yeah.
So you've terraced everything and it's working out really well for you.
Yeah, it's made some really interesting beds and lots of raised beds and added a whole new element to the thing.
Beets, you got lots of beets?
Yeah, I do a bit of pickling for my beets, and also this year I'm going to try some fermenting too.
Awesome. You were also saying that you did a lot of compost in here this year.
Yeah, that's pretty fresh compost, so I've still got a few sprouts happening here and there of some volunteers.
Which means she gardens like me, because this is a renegade tomato, and here's another renegade, and look, she's even got celery growing. And it works, you guys. This is what happens. You compost, you get surprises. But look at the beets. They are so green. They are so beautiful. And we're actually here to talk about her garlic. She's planted it all in this lovely bed in front of her raspberries. Mm-hmm. But what do you do with your garlic? Like, when do you know it's ready to harvest? And
so I've got 4 varieties here of hardneck garlic, and then I've also do some softneck garlic and elephant garlic. And right now this one's not quite ready, my hardneck, but I wait until about 2/3 of the plant has died back. Each one of these leaves represents a layer, like the wrapper on the garlic. So I want to make sure there's still some intact to keep it storable. But I'd say maybe another week or 2 we'll be able to pull some. And yeah, I picked some that we'll take a look at later though.
yeah, like, surprise you guys, it's sunny out today. It's really, really hot here. And you said that you took the scapes off a couple weeks ago?
Yes, yeah. So I took off the scapes and I had quite a few. So I usually do some pesto, some other sort of dishes. And this year I tried something different. I gathered a whole bunch, chopped them up in about 1.5 to 2-inch pieces, and then dried them out and blended them up, and it made like a really delicious kind of garlic powder.
Yeah, you said you're going to show us that?
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, cool. That will be absolutely awesome. Also, you said behind your raspberries you have...
Got some strawberry beds back there and fruit trees. We've got a bunch of little baby fruit trees. We've only been on this property for 5 years, so they're not quite producing as much as we'd like, but one day, got to be patient.
Yep. And then you said you were probably, when they were getting bigger, you were probably going to enjoy them with the gleaning project.
Yes, yeah. I'm excited. This year, I'm a volunteer with the gleaning project, and I'm going to be picking fruit. And hopefully in years to come, I will be providing a home for people to come glean here.
Too cool. Well, let's go take a look at what you've got for your garlic. The different kinds.
Sure.
You said you braided garlic. I'm curious to see how that goes.
Okay, well, let's give it a try.
All right. Here we go, you guys. See you over at the garlic table. Well, here we are. We're back at the table. We're looking at the garlic. Now, you said that you've grown different kinds of garlic. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming that these are them?
Yes, yeah. So these here are my hard necks, and then I have my soft neck here. So I've got music garlic here. This is an elephant garlic, and it's kind of quite big. As you can see, the cloves are
They're massive.
Ginormous. They're really nice. It's sweet. And these are actually a member of the leek family, so they're not true garlic, but they're super fun to grow.
Oh, cool.
Then we've got porcelain garlic here, which is a really nice chef's garlic. Marbled purple stripe, and then this is my soft neck.
What's the difference between a soft neck and a hard neck as far as storage goes? Do you find much difference?
Yeah, I find my music is the best hard neck storage I've got, and it lasts usually 9 to 10 months, and then I'm picking through what I've got. But the soft neck, like this is last year's, and I'll kind of show this too, and it still holds up pretty well. So I think the soft neck has a little bit better storage. It is a bit smaller of a bulb though.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. You were also saying that you braid your garlic.
I do.
Like,
and
I can see the long braid over there.
yeah, so I can show you a little quick demo if you like.
Yeah, do.
All right, so this is my soft neck, and I've got 3 here. Typically, I like to dry them out for about a week or 2, and so they're not quite all the way cured, but partway there.
Still flexible?
Yeah, exactly. Easy for the braiding. But for this, for today, I've kind of just cleaned them up a bit, and these are fresh. But as long as we get some good weather, they should dry out just fine. So I've got my 3 here, and I just tuck them in. And the traditional way of doing it is you take one side and you put it around these, kind of slip it in between, and then you've kind of got like a little bit of a knot here to start it. But if you don't want to do that, you can always just come in with a little piece of twine, slip it under the garlic, and tie it to start it.
Oh, cool. That
Yeah.
would work easier.
Yeah, exactly. There's 2 different ways. I actually, last year's I did use the twine, so full disclosure. Then we separate these out, and we just grab another piece of soft neck garlic, and we tuck it in, and we're gonna put it in on one side here, and then the stem is gonna go with the center.
Okay.
So then we're gonna bring the most bottom
Okay.
side to the middle, just like typical braid. Now we're gonna grab another. We just did the right. We're gonna do the left side. Tuck that in right over top of the other one. Make the stem go in the middle, and bring the bottommost over and into the center.
Oh, so you're grabbing 2 to move.
Yep,
Okay.
now we have 2
Okay.
because we just picked up the
Would make
last
sense,
stem.
you guys.
Now we're gonna go right into the center over top here. Put this garlic in the middle, tuck it with these 3, and bring over the bottommost stem right into the middle. So we're kind of just braiding and adding a garlic each time.
Okay.
So we can keep going just a little bit here. Go back to the left side, put it in the middle, and tuck it in.
Oh, you make it look so easy. I'm going to go home and try it, and I know I'm going to flub up.
Well, the good
Have
news
to
is you
phone
can
it.
always take it all apart and just try it again. There, put it in and braid again.
But it looks so handy for storage. I mean, it just all hangs there. It's all got good air circulation.
Exactly, and all you do, after I'll show you how I hang it up. Put it in the middle, through. And as you can see, you just kind of go through each one, adding and braiding all the way through. So we would
Captain Marvel, isn't she?
So we would keep going and use up all our garlic, but I'm just gonna stop now and I'll show this is last year's. So I think what I did last year is I kind of made a loop here with the twine and I just hang it up right by this. It dries really nicely. I dried it on the porch, just under cover. And each time that I want one, I just come and I snip off a garlic. Yeah, and it just stays there. And it, it can be decorative too. It's whatever works for you. So that's kind of one thing I like to do with my soft neck garlic.
That's awesome. Now, we had said that she has a little trick, and she takes all her garlic scapes, and you said that you dehydrate them. Do you dehydrate them in the oven, or do you just air dry them someplace on a screen, or?
So I use my dehydrator, but it works equally as well if you just put the oven nice and low, like 200, 250. You take your scapes and chop them into 1.5 to 2 inch pieces, lay them out kind of in a flat cookie sheet, and let them dry out. And once they're really dry to the touch and you break it open, there's no liquid inside, you throw them all in your blender, blend it up, and it makes a really nice garlic powder.
It's just beautiful. It smells so good. It smells so good, you guys. We need smell-o-vision. You said you added it to yogurt?
Yeah, I liked using, use like a Greek yogurt and add it, and it's kind of like a French onion dip. I find the scape powder is just so much sweeter and less pungent than typical garlic powder. So
That's
yeah.
absolutely brilliant. Well, thank you for your lesson on garlic today. This was absolutely wonderful.
Thanks, Candice.
Bye. It's Candice with Grow Local, and we're back. Sun's still shining, and I'm with Stephanie again, and she's going to give us a bit of a talk on herbs, and not necessarily the ones that you are really, really familiar with. So, on that happy note, Take it away, Steph.
Oh, thanks. So I like to grow a variety of herbs in my garden, some that I use for just like home remedies, and it's really important that everybody thinks about what works for them, and if they'd like, they can check with the family doctor before they try it, but this is what I do. I have a few different things here. The first one I'm sure most people know is chamomile.
Okay.
And chamomile's really nice. It's got such a nice sweet smell, and it's really great for relaxing and calming down at the end of the day.
Most people use it as a tea, don't they?
Yeah, and that's what I like to do too. I also use it for upset stomach. For my kids, they'll have chamomile tea because it really helps the digestive system kind of loosen and relax. So what I do is I just dry it up. Here we go. And this is some of my chamomile from the last harvest I did. But you can also use it fresh too for a tea if you have it, but this is nice in the winter, a little bit of sunshine.
Yeah, liquid sunshine.
Yeah, exactly. This one here is elderberry plant. Now, this isn't exactly like the blossom you see because we're still waiting for it to bloom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I like to use the elder flower. Can be used kind of for a cordial. You can make a sweet summer refreshing drink. But the best thing I like to do is wait till fall, and the berries will come out.
Yeah.
And then you get the berries and you put them in a pot. You can add some ginger and lots of honey to help with the kids. And then it makes a nice sweet syrup. And that syrup's great for common colds or coughs, that type of thing.
Yeah, I've got an elderberry shrub at my place, but it's massive. The flowers are gone and the berries are coming out.
I think you're a little ahead of me.
Fighting the deer for it. They're eating the lower level, and as long as they leave me the top berries, they'll be okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Good to know. I never knew about the tincture though, or the cordial.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. And this is something that's actually pretty common to find it on roadsides or other disturbed kind of sites. Just rocky, gravelly sunshine. It's St. John's wort. So St. John's wort is really good. I like to make it in oil, so I just use olive oil. I can show you right here. I've got a bunch of the blossoms. I use the blossoms and the buds, and I put it in olive oil and I set it outside in the sun for about a month, and then I strain it out. And then we just use that on our skin if there's like a bit of muscle tightness or that type of thing. So I like using it. If you're gonna try to find it, it's pretty easy to see. It's got these bright yellow flowers and these buds. If you squeeze it, you'll kind of see that it's got this reddish kind of powdery that comes out. That's a good way to identify it.
See, and I know it because when it gets the big red berries, that's what we used to use all the time in Christmas floral arrangements.
Oh, that's so funny. And the St. John's wort also, part of this name, Preferum, I think I'm saying that right, kind of refers to these little tiny pinprick holes. So if you hold up the leaf to the light, you can kind of see that it's got these little holes. So that helps identify it.
Who knew?
Then this one, really common and just all around great herb, is lavender. So I've got some English lavender that I just harvested, and I like to dry it. I use it in centerpieces. I use it everywhere I can. I like to make hydrosols from it, and
awesome for your skin, you guys.
Yeah.
How do you do your hydrosol?
So I don't actually have like the full equipment. So I take the biggest pot that I have, put a little inner pot inside and surround it with water, put my plant material in, top it off with water, let it come to a boil. On top of the second pot, I put a bowl and an inverted lid. So then all the steam that comes up drips down the inverted lid into the bowl that's within the big pot.
Okay.
And captures it. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I don't think it's the most technologically evolved, but it works for me.
Yeah, well, I don't have a technologically evolved kitchen either, but I could do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
And so I actually just made this as like a lemon lavender little tea cake, and I like to do lots of things with that, fun things. And again, another floral one here is rose. So I grow these roses, particularly in my garden, because they are really floral, really strong perfume, and you can also use wild roses. And I did that this year too.
Yeah?
Yeah, I went out and found some Nootka roses, those pink ones.
Yeah.
And I picked all the flowers and the buds. And then I made a rose hydrosol with that. So the same, like we just talked with that, and it's kind of just got, yeah.
I'm getting spoiled.
And
'Cause I'm eating this later.
And rose is really nice because it does help kind of alleviate the mood. It's all around just to feel good, and it's cooling too for the skin. Yeah, it's nice on a hot day like today.
It is. It's brilliant.
This is echinacea. So coneflower, purple coneflower. I think we see it all the time in nurseries and garden centers. And I actually use the root of this. So in the fall, I'll dig up like a 2 or 3 year old plant. And I'll get the roots, and I'll do a couple different things. I'll either make a tincture with the fresh, clean roots, or I'll dry it out and make an oil from it. And echinacea is really good. It's again kind of that all-purpose for flu, cold, that type of thing. Yeah, really, really good there. So I like to do that. And the flowers are really pretty throughout the summer,
Yes,
so it's a win-win. This here is raspberry leaves, so we all love the berries, of course, but the leaves, I like to pick them when they're fresh in the spring if you can, and you can make a tea, and they're really good for female hormonal health. So that's a kind of a little thing that I picked up, and yeah, it's really economical too because we've got lots of leaves.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
It's a really nice tea. Here, this is a little bit of a hot lemon balm, and you said you have lemon balm in
I've got lots of lemon balm.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I have here a lemon balm tincture. So I just grabbed the lemon balm leaves here, and I filled this up with like a 151 proof, and it stays typically in a cool, dry place.
151 proof?
Yeah.
Oh, get that at your local grocery store.
Yeah. And then that sits for about a month. Yeah. And then I use that medicinally, just a couple drops every once in a while in the winter.
151 proof, yep, for medicinal purposes, yeah.
Yeah, well, not more than a couple drops, that's for sure.
Just kidding. Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, and the last couple here, I have eucalyptus, which is kind of fun. This one's not quite, there's some that are hardy up till zone 7.
Oh, okay.
So I will be bringing mine inside. Just in case. It's a little baby plant, so I want to keep it nice and safe. And I like to, you can use it in flower arrangements and stuff, but also a nice thing to open up the chest. Yeah. So you can hang it, get a big bundle of it like this, except with the leaves, and hang it on your shower, like on your shower nozzle, and then the steam from the eucalyptus comes, and it's really good when you want to clear it out.
Yeah. Just feel it working.
I love it. Yeah, it's really great. Oh yeah, this is the dried lemon balm. So
oh, is it?
Yeah, so this I just hung to dry. Actually, I've got June 5th. That's when I harvested this one. So
wow.
Yeah, and I can make a tea with it in the winter as well.
I've only ever used it fresh. I did not know it would stoke, which is crazy. Why wouldn't I know that you could use it dried, you guys? You dry all your other herbs and use it in your cooking.
Yeah.
Brain fart.
And then the final one here that I have is calendula, and I only have one sad little bud. You said that your flowers are out and happy.
Yeah, they volunteered in my garden, and they've been blooming for almost 2 months now, and yeah, I've got piles of seed heads now that I'm starting to save for next year.
I should have started it a little earlier, maybe.
Or you guys, everybody has different microclimates, so that's my calendula has been blooming for ages. Hers is just starting, so it's not necessarily something that you've done, it's where you live.
That's true. So when this blossoms, you use the flower, and just to make sure you use the base of it as well, and it makes a really nice kind of either salve or oil. So you can dry the flowers up, and then you can make an oil with olive oil. Or another thing I like to do is take that infused oil and add either some beeswax or coconut oil, and then it kind of makes like a nice little balm that you can use. And calendula is great for skin ailments like rash rashes, eczema, acne. So anything like that, I find it's a really gentle way to try to treat those.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
And then you have one more.
Oh yeah, so there's some rose soap. So I also kind of, when I need to make soap, I just kind of incorporate whatever's around and blooming. So I actually due to make some lavender soap next because I've got that on the go.
Oh, awesome.
But I like to use that as well. I can use the hydrosol in the recipe too, so it's a 2-for-1.
And I've often heard that if you put a couple sprigs of just the lemon or the lavender blossoms underneath your pillow, that it will help you have a nice calm sleep.
Yeah.
But I've also heard that if you put too much of it, it winds you up.
Right.
So it's kind of like almost like an adaptogen.
Yeah, and I think
not quite.
it's good. It's just such a good adage to remember to use everything in moderation, right? And
Yep.
yeah, I just love being able to use all these different things in different ways and kind of be so grateful for what, the earth and our garden has have for us.
Yeah, exactly. And now, you guys, I want to say goodbye because this tea cake's just calling me. So on that happy note, bye. Hey, it's Candice with Grow Local, and right now we're going to talk about some pots. Different pots for different things, different situations, but it's kind of nice to know what kind of pots you want to use for what you're going to be growing. These are your terracotta pots. They come in a whole lot of different sizes, different styles. Some of them are really pretty and intricate. Some are just really plain Jane. They're really good when you are growing things that don't like to stay wet because terracotta is clay and it is really, really porous. Downside of these is that if we have a lot of wet weather and cold weather, which we do, you get that expansion, contraction, and they do have a tendency to break. But if it's in a sheltered spot, these things can last you for years. And if you look around, some pot companies have actually started adding certain chemicals to make their terracotta pots more frost proof. Which is kind of exciting. They are a little bit on the heavier side, but like I said, they are really good for growing things like your rosemary and your oregano, cactus and succulents. Because sometimes you want to have kind of an edible looking garden. These ones are going to be your ceramic. So they're still fairly porous, but they usually have a finish on the outside that holds more of the moisture in. So they have less of a tendency to crack. But again, when you're purchasing them, they will usually say they're frost resistant, not frost proof. So they will last you for several years. If you know that we're going to have a whole lot of rain followed by a cold spell or cold snap, try to keep your heavier pots on caddies because you should actually move them into a sheltered spot closer to the house or something. Otherwise, you're going to find that expansion and contraction and your pots will crack. But again, you should get years out of these things. Next up, plastic pots. Really good for things that need to retain moisture. They're a lot lighter. So if you're growing on a deck or a balcony and weight's going to be an issue, these are really good. You can find plastic pots now that actually come with a guarantee that they're not going to get brittle and they're not going to sun fade for up to 10 years, which is really kind of nice. And like I said, they are so good for so many things and they come in so many different colors and styles. These are really a go-to one. Other ones you can get are made out of fiberglass. I don't have those today. But again, they'll last you probably longer than the plastic pots will. And again, they come in a whole bunch of different sizes. The prices on your plastic pots, ceramic pots, and your fiberglass ones are anywhere from inexpensive to, are you kidding? So bear that in mind when you go shopping. Other things you can use are your hanging baskets. This is a coir insert, and you can get these in window boxes and huge, huge ones and really small ones. These guys, this is what they look like when they're new. This is what mine looks like after about 3 years. Still got mud on the bottom. The only time I have really had them get really ratty is when the birds discovered them and wanted to use it for nesting material. And thanks, I'll share. I have no problem with that. And for some of your other hanging baskets, good old moss. If you've got a fairly tight weave on the basket
and you've got access to moss, green side out, brown side on the inside, make it a good big fat layer. It really acts as an insulator, keeps the soil in, keeps the moisture in. This one is a felt, and they come in different sizes again. And this one's a little bit too small for this hanging basket, but you'll get the idea. You just pop it in and put your soil in. Again, it holds the moisture beautifully, doesn't allow the soil to all dribble out, and the plants really like it. So there's a couple of different options for you, a couple of different ideas. If you are really on a budget and you've got the frames, but you don't have the money to go out and buy the liners, if you've got old fabric, you can use burlap, you can use flour sacks, you can use old sheets or your kid's old flannel shirt. It doesn't really matter, because all you need is something that's going to not fall apart, hold the soil in, and especially with hanging baskets, your plants are probably going to be cascading over the sides and nobody's going to know what's in there either. So use what you've got, make the most of it, and have fun growing.